Welcome to eAssist Growing Your Dental Business podcast. Tune in as the experts in dental business share tips and tools to grow your practice. To learn more, visit dentalbilling.com. Please welcome our next guest.
Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Growing Your Dental Business podcast. I'm your host, Jacquelyn Hurley, and I'm so glad you're here today because we're diving into something that every dental practice owner can relate to, and that is kind of feeling a little bit of chaos behind the scenes. And if you've ever looked around and thought, why is everything falling on me? Or I feel like we are working so hard and the results just are not showing up, then this episode is for you. So I'm excited to welcome Melinda Heryford, and she brings over 30 years of experience into transforming dental practices from the inside out with an MBA from the University of California, Davis, and a proven track record of measurable results. Melinda helps overwhelmed dentists and their teams find clarity, get aligned, and grow their profits with less stress. So her company is the Practice Implementers, where she focuses on 5 prime pillars: plan, people, process, patience, and then last but not least, profit. Her approach is unique in that she focuses on that vital 20% that generates 80% of the results. So I'm excited to have you here. Welcome, Melinda.
Thank you, Jacquelyn. Thank you. You and I have known each other for a long time, so it is just my pleasure to be here and for us to have this conversation because I think it's a pivotal conversation.
I think so too. And so I really appreciate you joining me today. Thank you. We have known each other for a long time. I was trying to think back in the Solution Reach days, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was.
so it's been a great time.
It is. It's been a good journey, right? It's been, dentistry's been good to both of us, right?
It has. I totally agree with that. So I guess my first question is, how did you decide to become a dental consultant?
Yeah, I love this story. When I was in the 8th grade, I grew up in a really teeny tiny town. So our 8th grade was part of the high school. And Pat Berry was the school counselor. And she's like, you need to be a dental hygienist. I'm like, okay. And so I set out to be a dental hygienist. And, 5 or 10 years later, I was busy getting all the CEs and getting prepped for dental hygiene school and went to work for a perio office. And I sat with a hygienist for a day, Jacquelyn, and I really got like the magnitude of what they do. It's amazing what hygienists do.
Yeah.
And I knew that it wasn't for me, like I kind of have a little like ADD, that ish. So I've changed focuses a bunch. And so I just knew, okay, that's not a good match. But I love the management part. And I worked for a big group practice. And so I got exposed to a lot of the management stuff. And so, one experience after another, I ended up going to work for a management consulting company at 22. So
Wow.
I know I've been at it a long time, and it has been a beautiful match for my personality and my skill set. And it has, I love what we're able to do because we're really able to, by focusing on the management piece, help dentists, help their patients get healthy. And that makes me feel good.
I love it. I love it. So did you ever do hygiene then or just go straight?
I never did hygiene. No. I did management and I did all those other positions and then just, had some good fortune and met some great people and got to go to work for a management consulting company at a very early age and got some great training. So I feel really blessed and grateful.
Oh, that's so amazing. I love that. So I feel like you've probably seen the day-to-day experiences that these dentists have. And so I feel like sometimes dentists slip into what is like a reactive mode. Like they feel like they have a plan, but then team issues arise or a patient requires extra time, or maybe an insurance question derails their focus. And before they know it, the day is over and nothing on their list is getting accomplished. So what are your thoughts about how dentals can transition from that chaotic daily routine to a more focused and proactive style of leadership?
It's such a great question. So it's like, how do they get out of this reactive mode, which doesn't feel good? It doesn't feel good to them. It doesn't feel good to the team. It's just not a good feeling. And dentistry is an interesting profession because it really is. Most dentists go into dentistry. It's a lifestyle business. They can have a great lifestyle. They can work 4 days a week and have weekends off, so it's like, oh, this is going to be cool. And the thing that most dentists weren't expecting is to manage a business. And it's for them, many dentists, most dentists, it's like, like kind of, like the albatross, right? It was the thing that they weren't expecting. And so like reverse engineering, how do you get yourself into a place where you're not reactive, your practice is successful and it hums along. And so, I mean, I think really the way that gets done is with leadership, with systems, with a plan, right? That there's like, some thought to and some organization around how does this thing sustain itself and grow without me? And so, it's like all those ingredients make the difference.
So when something comes up, you've already got a plan in place of how to react or how to handle that, or what to do to take care of the situation without feeling like it's derailing your whole day.
Exactly. So, I was talking about this the other day. It's a fascinating thing to me that a lot of dentists don't like, I don't want an office manager. I don't want to call somebody an office manager. I don't want to, and, like the thing we think we don't want is the thing that could actually save us, right? I mean, this is this idea of, it's not leadership just because somebody said that they were an office manager and a really good one. I mean, it really takes some skills and it takes some vetting and it takes some, systems on training for expectations. But a leadership team, having a leadership team is a key ingredient to actually creating more ease for that owner doctor. So they're not having to do it all on their own. Now, typically we start with placing systems in place. And just like how dentists get trained, they get trained on how to do a root canal. They get trained on how to do a crown. They get trained on how to do a filling. And there's a setup and they have to do so many of those to even get through dental school. Yeah. Well, that's not done from practice management. Like that, like you're just supposed to figure it out, right? And so that's why it's kind of like the stepchild that never got thought about, right? It really is. It's kind of like, ugh, but it's very much the same. It's like, how do we take in a new patient? How do we actually, what's our cycle of service for the whole time, like from the greeting to the close, and all of those steps really are best served if they're all lined out, if they're documented, and if we train to those steps. And more importantly, that each team member knows what's my main thing about these steps, right? Because otherwise it's like you have 100 steps and the patient check in, check out, right? Now go get it done. But, so that's the part that's not very useful. The part that's useful is to say, here's how we do things around here. Here's your most important tasks that you need to nail every single day, every single patient. So that's really what, it's been a real process, Jacquelyn, because I started with training 44 systems and I was super proud of my 44 systems. I mean, it took me a lot of time and experience to even document those 44 systems. So I was like, okay, good. I'll teach you my 44 systems. But you can imagine what the response to that is. Like, are you really freaking kidding me, Melinda? Right? No, like right? I don't want to do 44 systems. So it's been, takes me a little while to learn. So, a little while. And so, now we teach 6 main systems and each team member has their 2 or 3 most important pieces to each of those systems. So when they walk in a day, they're not saying, what are the 100 things I need to do? It's like, I need to nail these 2 things
Yeah.
in the day. And so you can see it like clears out the chaos,
Yeah.
creates a beautiful focus for not only the doctor, but for each team member. And then it also makes it easy to lead if we have leaders. So, that's the next element, is that the more leadership help, qualified leadership help a doctor has, the less they have to do on this thing. Like that's what
Sure.
really creates the proactivity, is that you have somebody else helping you, effectively. And so those leaders are really checking in. Did you get your 2 things done? How's it going? Here, let me help you, let me train you. And so when we think about leaders, each department has a leader and they come together, right? Even in a small office, it's helpful. I mean, beyond 10 people, it's required, right? It's like, it's always going to be chaotic if you don't have systems and leadership, right? I mean, so it's like what gets you out of reactive is having systems, leadership, because with that, somebody can help hold accountability. So we think about it like 1, 2, 3. 1, we have our clients create a big WIG, one wildly important goal. So it's not everything is a focus, one thing is a focus. Then each team member has 2 important things, right? 2 important things. And then 3 is accountability. And that leadership team helps hold the team accountable. So you can see it's like, then it's really a working system. And that's what gets us out of reactivity. You can see how it works. It's like, okay, it clears away all the, oh, I have this and that and this and that. I had somebody say, I don't really know what's most important. Okay, let's step it back. Let's just take a look, right?
Yeah.
So
That's great. I love that. So what if a dentist, so that's kind of what brings the team alignment, like from the doctor to the office manager to the team. It's like you break it down simply, it sounds like, so everyone understands their role. And I guess what if the doctor feels like I'm constantly repeating myself and the team is not following through? What do you do in a situation like that?
Yeah, that is just, I mean, and that you hear a lot, right? I'm a one-man, one-woman show. I'm the only one who's trying here, right? And so many doctors have that experience. They feel like they're the only ones doing it. And so, it really is, again, that reverse engineering to say, okay, like who isn't doing their most important thing? Who is this, and it's like, stepping it back. The other thing that dentists aren't great about is holding people accountable. They don't know how to effectively hold people accountable. And so, and it is a key thing. Like, it's like there is this fallacy that if I have a conversation with someone, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're human beings and we might do it for a day or 2 days, but if somebody's not checking in, there's so many things to focus on. It's easy to lose focus as a human, even for the highest functioning. So it really is like that when the doctor's saying, I feel like I'm doing it all alone, right? It really is. Then we're like, okay, let's take it back. And what is the focus? I mean, even for the doctors listening to this, it's like, what's your focus? What do you want your team focused on? We pick one thing because then it's easy. Then it's easy to remember, right? Everybody knows what their thing is. But for the doctors listening to this, it's like, what is your focus? What is it that you want your team to focus on? And sometimes we have to make that focus bigger, right? Because there's so many details in that bigger thing, right? We have a lot of steps for everything we do in dentistry. And it's this amazing expectation for delivering excellent service while you're doing hundreds of tasks. So it's hard.
It is.
It's hard and it's easy to lose focus. And so I think the piece that I'm saying is like, create something that you could step back to so that you can simplify it and you can tell people what it is that you want them focused on. And it can't change every day. There has to be consistency about it. So, and when we talk about team alignment, Jacquelyn, I think this all also contributes to culture. And so, culture is like, I think the magic piece to holding on to team members and having them have a sense of pride about who they're working for and what they're doing. And so, culture is just, it's kind of elusive,
Right.
but you can feel it when it's there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
absolutely.
You can feel it. And so that's really what I want to encourage the doctors to also remember. We're way beyond command and control. Do it because I said so. We're way beyond that. Like that doesn't get anyone excited.
Right.
Nobody's
Right.
excited about that. So what are you doing in your culture that gives them gives the team members a sense of fulfillment and that they feel like they're on an awesome team? Because that allows everybody to rise.
For sure. And the patients feel that too the minute they walk in the door.
They
You
do.
can tell exactly the culture just by the feeling in the practice when you're there.
Yeah. And I think it's a fascinating thing. So I think also some doctors lighten up and just like create fun, right? I'll just create fun because I want culture to be really important. So there is this magic balance between culture and getting things done, right? So culture and accountability. And because I think, it's like any good team, any good athlete, you can't win effectively unless you deliver.
Right.
Right. So there's, it's like having a great culture is essential. And also there's this other piece that you have to deliver. You have to deliver and make the business good, make the practice good. So it is sustainable.
So what's the best way that you found to hold people accountable? Is that through weekly check-ins? Is that through weekly huddles? What is your recommendation
That is an awesome question. That is an awesome question. So we have 5 meetings that we recommend, and people will recognize these meetings. Huddle is the first place to hold people accountable. Okay. It's the first place for teamwork because, and it really isn't, you don't get together and read the schedule. That is not a good huddle. Right. A good huddle is like, what's our game plan for the day today and who's going to do what? And a lot of huddle is really being clear and conscious of what's next for each patient. Because when we know what's next for each patient as a team, when we're all thinking about that, wow, we can levitate the day. It's amazing. And our patients are way more like when we're all saying the same things, they're way more willing to say yes and be in the know.
Sure.
When we can do dentistry the same day because we thought about it ahead, that's an amazing thing. So that's the first tool of accountability. It's like, that's where it's like, hey, we talk about it and did we do it? Right. Mm-hmm. And then we have something we call a weekly powwow. People will recognize this weekly meeting. If it's a big team, we do it by department. If it's a 7 to 10 team, we do it by the whole team. But they have a time to come together to say, how are we doing on our most important things, right? So you've been in teams. It's like when there's a check-in and I have to say, I'm on track or I'm off track, and this is what I'm going to do about it. Well, that's beautiful. Right. It's beautiful. So, and if we do it every week, then people know we're going to be doing it every week. We have a dashboard, Jacquelyn, where every person there's a tracking for their most important thing. They fill it in, or the office manager fills it in. But at that powwow, they're either green or red, on track or off track. When they're off track, they say, this is what I'm going to do about it. And then there's some team sharing about, okay, we could try this or that. But see, it's like, okay, all right, right. It takes the mystery out. And this is where then the doctor has not like it's way beyond the doctor at this point. Each team is doing some lifting. So, it becomes a team event. And then we have a monthly meeting. That's a team meeting where we can do training. And then we have the one-to-one meeting. And that one-to-one meeting is really where we meet with team members and we, do they need help? What do they want to develop? What do they want to be better at? And then we have the annual reset for the whole team, like where we set the whole vision. So you can see it's like pretty powerful. We have a lot of different ways to slice and dice it so that our communication is really high, our expectations are really clear, and there's a way to say, do you need some help?
Yeah, I love it. I think that is, and if you're doing all of those things, that's creating that team culture as well. Because I feel like everyone is working together. Like if you know that you're just bringing it up because someone needs help and there's other ideas coming in to help this person, that creates that camaraderie so that everyone has that better team culture as well.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's this place where communication is high.
Yeah.
And when it's predictable, like people know that you're going to have that conversation with them. They actually, I mean, at first it's a little like, oh, it's kind of scary for team members, but because they're not used to it. But then when they get used to it, they're like, yeah, it's time for my one-on-one and I have some stuff to say. So because they really want to know from their boss, each team member, how am I doing? How am I doing? And is there anything else that you expect from me?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. What do you expect and how am I doing? And when they get that consistently, it's beautiful.
Right. Right. I love it. I love that so much. Thank you for answering that question because I was thinking, how do you do that? How do you hold them accountable?
Yeah. Well, it's a deal, right? And mostly we don't think about the system, but it's a system, right? I mean, that's anything. If you want predictability, you have to do things consistently, right? That's kind of business 101.
For sure. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about the dentist that feels like, oh, we are working so hard. I feel like we're producing a lot. We are so busy every day. But for some reason, the profits aren't showing up in our bank account. So how can a dentist identify where those leaks are and what they need to do to work smarter and not harder to see those financial rewards?
Well, it's a great question. And I hear that far more often than I would hope to, right? That like I'm working really hard, but it is not showing up in my bank account. And, I think this is really a place I like the doctors to evaluate their expenses quarterly to see how they line up with what they should be spending in those areas. And if they're high or low, what should they really be doing about it? And so, because that's the first place of, okay, either we're spending too much in these areas. And really in dentistry, Jacquelyn, we don't really have, we don't have that many places to control costs. Supplies, we can control costs. Labor is our biggest expense, but the game around labor isn't just about controlling the cost. It's much more about maximizing the team and maximizing efficiency, and you do that through systems. And so if labor's high, and I want the doctors who are listening to hear this, if labor's high, you're not going to give people you're not going to reduce their pay. That is just suicide, right? You're not going to reduce their pay. Right. What are you going to do? So what you are going to do is figure out your schedule. And so for these doctors that feel like they're already working hard, typically, Jacquelyn, their schedule isn't controlled. It's like we're just booking to fill the holes. Mm-hmm. And this happens far too much. And this is for general dentists and specialists, there's a methodology for scheduling, right? And I'm sure you've had a number of people on talking about that, but there is an ideal day, and there is that ideal day that's set to goal. And there is a mix of procedures that should be in that day. And when they're not, then when the ideal day is violated, then those doctors are working their tails off.
Yeah.
They're working their tails off. Or the dental assistants aren't really doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, it's like it could be a combo of those, or we need higher level. We need to add an EF2, right? But the truth is, it's like, do you have an ideal day? Are you, right? Yeah. Do you have an ideal day? And are you managing to that ideal day? We have something called a 10-day check. So every Monday, the doctor sits down with the scheduling coordinator and they look at, are we at goal? where are the violations and, where are the openings? And so you can, when you're doing that regularly, and I would recommend any doctor do that because that gives your scheduling coordinator the feedback to actually improve. I used to I had one of my early doctors, one of my early offices was a perio office, and I had 4 doctors. I was a scheduling coordinator, but I had one doctor that would sit down with me every Monday, and we would go through every single patient that didn't schedule. Now, do you think I was extra conscious of scheduling his patients?
Absolutely.
Extra conscious. Plus, I learned how to get better on the phone because he gave me tips. Right? He'd look at what are the conditions and what could I say? And, it was super valuable. And so this is that 10-day check. It's the time for the doctor to chime in and go, okay, how about this or that? And that feedback sustains and grows those scheduling coordinator. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So much education around all of that. And the doctor knows why that patient needs to get in, probably more than anyone else. Maybe the hygienist knows, but the doctor really knows.
They know. They know.
Yeah. So they're the best educator for you. And I don't know if a lot of doctors take time to do that, to spend that time with the scheduling coordinator.
Yeah. They mostly don't like doing it because it's it's kind of annoying to them. Sure. And I will tell you, the ones that do it have amazing success at calming this down. Right? This thing that we're talking about, calming down a reactive schedule, creating a very conscious schedule that doesn't work the doctor so hard, and it's more effective. So it means it is a beautiful system that is way better if it's managed.
That's wonderful. That's what great advice. Thank you, Melinda, for that.
Yeah.
We've talked about a lot of different things today. Is there anything in particular that you would like to share before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I want to just gift your doctors listening. We have a practice assessment where we actually look at 37 different places of the practice, and we give them feedback about where their opportunities are. So it's a beautiful place to say, okay, where are my golden nuggets and how can I focus? And so it's $1,000 value, and we will gift that to your clients for actually listening and being part of your system. And so I'd love to do that. And then we have master classes quarterly. And so I'd love to also put our next topic in our show notes and make sure that they get invited to our next master class.
We absolutely can do that. What a generous gift for you to offer that complimentary practice health assessment. That seems like that would be the first step towards just figuring out more clarity, more profitability in a practice. And I would be happy to list your masterclass in the show.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
Good for that. Yeah. How's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So the best way, we'll put it in the notes. The best way is by email. And so we'll put my email. It's my name, Melinda at melindaheryford.com. So it's easy with a Y. So we'll put that in there so that they remember that. And reach out, and, we'd be really excited to share a focus about where their opportunities are.
Thank you, Melinda, for joining me today. This has been such a great conversation. I feel like it's been very beneficial to dentists who just might feel like they're working their little heart out and they're having a hard time seeing the rewards from all of that. And I feel like you've got some great tips for them. This episode of the Growing Your Dental Business is brought to you by eAssist Dental Solutions. And so if you're looking for support with your revenue cycle management or just want to get paid faster with less stress, you can go to dentalbilling.com to learn more. Thank you again, Melinda.
My pleasure. Yeah. My pleasure. Great to be with you today.
Oh, it's great to be with you always. So until next time, keep growing, keep leading. Remember that a thriving practice starts from the inside out. And Melinda knows this better than anyone. So thanks, everybody.
The purpose of this podcast is to interview the consultants within our eAssist Consultant Network. This podcast is for informational purposes only. For more details, please visit the homepage of this podcast platform at dentalbilling.com. Thanks for listening.